Today's the day. Berserk Chapter 374 finally came out, and it's good. Personally, my favorite part is where I was proven right. I called it. In case you have no clue what I'm talking about, I would suggest checking out my predictions video. My next video wasn't going to be a Berserk one, but after this chapter, I just absolutely have to talk about this. So with that out of the way, let's dive right into it. The chapter goes back in time just a little bit to show Isidro and Serpico's perspective on the whole situation, where they're just chilling, having good conversation, then BAM! The Kushins show up on the ship. And can I just say, I've missed this side of Serpico. You know, the one where he opens up his eyes and suddenly shit gets very real with him. It's a nice change of pace from him just being, you know, the background character, which he has been for a little bit. Anyway, Serpico, being the badass that he is, reaches for his sword, ready to fight, only to realize he made a rookie mistake and left it somewhere in a room. I don't know about you, but that doesn't make sense narratively to me. They've been under attack for every single night of their lives. Like, I know that they're safe now, but you'd think that they always have their weapons on hand. Anyway, moving on. Realizing this, Serpico dashes through a window, much like the Kushins, in order to book it for his sword so that he can protect Farnese. Unable to open up the door in time, it cuts to the battle, which surprisingly so, Azan is the one that's mainly worried about Guts losing his shit. And I'm very thankful for this because there are too many characters in this party that have fallen into the pit of comedy souls, where they don't get any more development and they're just there to be funny. I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, but I have noticed that Studio Gaga is kind of remedying this. Puck has been drawn seriously in these last few chapters and has rarely been chestnut-like. Azan now is being taken very seriously in this heated moment, and Serpico once again seems like he's more tense and not just in the background. As the battle rages, the Kushins successfully burst through Guts' room, and they see him on the floor. And thank God for good writing and not just stupid anime mobs like they mostly are half the time. Not in Berserk, baby.
Every example you just showed is from Berserk, though.
Shut up. No one asked you. They see his massive sword and they go, "Fuck that!" and kick that away from his hand. Yes, a smart move. That's good writing. That's actually what would happen. I really like that. No, how did you know that my weakness was actually having brains? As Guts reaches for his sword, he passes out, and I really don't know why he's so sickly. Is it from his massive depression and feelings of betrayal towards his sword, or is he fighting back the beast currently? I don't understand why he's sick. But moving on, what I do really like is the symbolism of the Kushins having the chains. They're about to wrap him up as if he's going to be a prisoner, but these chains that aren't even on him shatter. Not the ones in the Kushins' hands, but the one in his mind. And I can tell you right now, Guts has gone into the Berserker armor, and that is not good. No, that's not good at all, especially since everyone's tied up. They can't defend themselves against a Berserker armored Guts. Not that they could in the first place, but now they're really screwed. As the battle ends, it shows that the Kushins clearly won because the entire crew is tied up on the top deck of the ship. Roderick, being an absolute Chad as always, tells the Kushins that they can do whatever the hell they want to do to him and his crew, as long as they don't touch the women and the children. Finding it strange that the Kushins haven't just straight up killed them, he's noticed that there's something a little off and is trying to find out what they want. And this is another thing I love about Berserk, is that there's an actual language barrier. People don't just magically know every single language and they all happen to speak Japanese. I really like how in Berserk, they cannot understand these Kushins. And that is a major plot point for them because this doesn't have to be as tense as it needs to be. And you'll find out why in just a moment. Unfortunately, we don't get to see how it happened, but apparently Isidro and Serpico get captured and that's a no-go. And then we hear the footsteps coming. Yes, Guts definitely has gone berserk because he is walking right now, and there is no way in hell he was previously in the state to walk, nor were the Kushins going to allow him to walk. So the only way that he could be walking right now is because he killed them all, losing his mind. So why doesn't this situation need to be as tense as it actually is? Well, this is my favorite part of the chapter because it shows that it's Rickert and the Kushins are the Bakiraka. That's right, bitches! I was right. I was absolutely right in my predictions that these Kushins weren't here to kill them. And if you notice in the previous chapter, like I stated in my previous video, there hasn't been a drop of blood and there still hasn't been one. Well, it might have been off screen, but Guts might have spilled actually a lot of blood in the background. But that's besides the point. The Kushins are Bakiraka. This was all part of Rickert's plan. And we're gonna see what happens in the future. I really, really hope that it does not cut to Falconia. I'm fine with it delving into Casca's story in the next few chapters, but I really have been waiting for the meeting between Rickert and Guts for a long time. But yeah, that was the end of the chapter. It went by way too quickly, but that's just because it was that good. There are a few interesting things I'd like to point out in this chapter. The first of which being that Shirke isn't shown whatsoever. I'm not talking about her physical body, but I am talking about, of course, where she actually is. It doesn't show any of that currently, so that will be a really interesting perspective to see in the future. And yes, hopefully we do see it. The second interesting thing to note in this chapter is that it only implies that Guts may be in the Berserker armor because it only shows his feet walking. So we don't actually know that he is going Berserk. It is just an assumption of mine, and I am placing my money that he absolutely is losing control right now. And speaking of assumptions, I'd like to get into some further predictions that I think may actually happen now that we have more context to the story. Starting off with Shirke, what's going on with her? In my previous video, I predicted that Shirke would permanently get lost within the astral world, which I totally think is still going to happen. However, with this new chapter, there's a chance that because Guts lost himself within the Berserker armor, the massive explosion of Odd could act like a beacon and guide Shirke back to the ship and fix Guts before he does some extreme damage. I think the chances of this are slim. This is either a perfect opportunity for Guts to burst out of the Berserker armor himself, which would be awesome, or it would be a fantastic chance for Farnese to show off even more of her magical skill and for her to gain more confidence within herself. Do I think Guts is going to kill someone? No, absolutely not. The point of Rickert showing up is to show the entire crew and the readers that there is still hope for Guts. And I think that Guts killing somebody would kind of take that feeling away. If there had to be someone who dies, my bet would be Serpico. He would sacrifice himself for Farnese so that Farnese has enough time to bring Guts back. Once again, I don't think that this is likely whatsoever. I think that this is the time for Guts to take control of the armor himself, and maybe seeing Rickert will be the trigger for this. And just like my previous video, I am also once again going to predict that Guts and the party will head to the secret Kushin base where Rickert has been staying. And that's it for the video. As you can tell, this one was a little more off the cuff, a little less scripted, and I wanted to make it very clear that I am not just going to be a Berserk channel. I am going to be talking about things like video games and other anime/manga. I am quite the nerd, and the next video I'm making is actually about Nintendo. The next thing I'd like to address is the amount of time that has gone by without any more content coming out. I'd like to apologize for that. I've had so many obligations come up with not only family, but where I am in the country, that I haven't been able to work on really anything, and for that I am very sorry. But I'm going to try my best to get on the content creation grind. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'm Saad Hanashi. I'll see you later.